And I got mixed up because I was supposed to. Okay. We're now joined by Lisa Campos. She is the Director of Athletics at UTSA, and someone who is a rock star in the business herself, and someone who is the one who hired a great friend of ours in Jeff Traylor as the head football coach. And he has done a pretty remarkable job, better than maybe you even thought.
Well, first, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And yeah, we hit a home run with Coach Traylor's hire, and yeah, knew that he was going to be so successful. Didn't imagine it being in such a short amount of time, and to win a conference championship for the first time in program history in year 2 during COVID.
Yes, absolutely. And the momentum is there for the future as well.
How much, when you have a program, you're making a hire, you know that, okay, this guy clearly can X and O. That's part of it. But the personality of your school and the personality of the coach seem to intersect so well with him. Is that what jumped off about Jeff to you?
Yeah, I tell this story often that we didn't really know. Jeff was not on our radar, and everyone who came in kept talking about Jeff Traylor. And, we interviewed incredible individuals, sitting head coaches at the Division I level, but we heard enough about Jeff. We said, we got to at least talk to this individual. And I always say it, within 5 minutes of him interacting with us, it was the president and I was like, this is my guy. You could just tell immediately that, to your point, he met the personality of what we were needing at the time. He had the Texas connections. He had all the relationships all over the state. He's so competitive. He has the winning championship mentality, but he's just an authentic, genuine person, and we immediately knew he was going to be able to connect with our students and with our city and do something really special.
What does it feel like in San Antonio right now as it pertains to UTSA athletics? I mean, it just seems like there's just a growing, building momentum in that regard. There
is so much momentum. As I keep saying, we are on a steep trajectory, just not just athletics, but our institution. And there are doors being opened that I never thought would be open because of the success of our football program and our athletics program. We opened up a brand new $40+ million facility in August, was able to build that during COVID, on budget, on time. That created a lot of momentum. Being able to sign Coach for 10 years, that added to momentum. Getting into the American Conference, winning a conference championship. I mean, the last 7 months have been, I've aged about 10 years, but it just positive, and everyone in San Antonio is getting on board.
When you have someone like him who is immediately successful and his personality the way it is, you signed him to the 10-year contract extension. How difficult is it when you have somebody, you want them to be successful, and then others notice that he's successful?
He experiences, I think, in recruiting all the time that he wants to keep that a secret, but we knew, I didn't expect, again, that in year 2 people would be coming after him immediately, but we knew that was going to be a possibility, and I've told the story that after his first year being so successful, I approached him in the summer and said, listen, we want to start looking at your contract. I know you've only been here for a year, but there's something very special about you. And we had actually circled his off day, our open weekend, to finalize the contract. I had already had conversations with his agents, had already had conversations with him, really understood what was really important to him. And then the process sort of sped up as other schools started expressing interest, wanting to interview him. But ironically, we announced to the team, we all signed it on that date we had circled in the summer. So, I think there's always things happen for a reason, and people are always looking out for what's best here.
How much of a boon has it been for you guys, in the city of San Antonio? You know how they are with the Spurs. I mean, that is their team. That you guys are now the city's team. I mean, the city has thrown their arms around you. And for recruiting, that's got to be great, because that's not necessarily the case even just up the road in Austin. Like, they're kind of the city's team, but there's enough people from outside that, maybe they're not.
Yeah, no, UTSA football and the other sports are definitely becoming San Antonio's team. And that's been our aspirational vision, is to transform lives as San Antonio's nationally recognized Division I program. We talk about that all the time, and we're seeing that. And to see, again, it just gives me chills to see the community with orange and blue all over the businesses, the flags flying, the 210, you know, and we reciprocated that to the city by putting 210 on the helmets, by putting the Triangle Toughness, the 210 on that we want to be your city, and to recruit local stars from San Antonio in all of our sports. They really are getting behind us and believe that we are their team.
You mentioned the move to the American. That's a big deal. Realignment just kind of appeared and then went crazy. What was that like from your perspective? I mean, just how much of the circus were you experiencing as well? Yeah,
again, it goes to all the gray hair I now have that I didn't have before. But really, I mean, when I first took this job, that was always the conversation was about realignment. And we knew we had to position ourselves, and we knew we had a long ways to go. So 4.5 years ago, we put a plan together to strategically position ourselves for when it happened. It wasn't a matter of if, it was when is this going to happen. And you know, again, I think someone up above is really looking after us, because everything came together. You know, to get Tier 1 status as an institution, to have our highest fundraising year in many years or in program history, to have the attendance that we had in football, to be winning conference, like it all came together. And the process was wild and crazy, and the conversations and how we really lobbied for San Antonio and for UTSA. But then it all just happened very quickly at the same time. But it's been years in the make, but really a short amount of time of being able to lobby and sharing our story, telling our story of how special we are and where we're going.
Lisa Campos, again, UTSA Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics. And a final question for you on the landscape of college sports in general, NIL, and so much more. Is it as whirlwind now, along with all the other things you've talked about, as it's ever been?
It really is. I mean, the transfer portal, NIL, I can't have an interview with anybody or a conversation with anyone without those topics coming up, right? And I'll tell you, from an NIL perspective, we've embraced it. We embraced it for when it first came about, because we know it's not going away. Now, hopefully, the spirit of it will come back, and that's what we've really embraced, is the spirit of NIL. And our community, again, how special San Antonio is, they have jumped on that, particularly for our local students. And it's not the $50,000 deals, right? But they are providing NIL deals to our student athletes in the spirit it was intended. Transformational committee, all of that, it's the uncertainty, the unknown, and we're just going to continue to stay true to who we are, focus on our student athletes, keep moving this program forward with it at the same rate that the university is moving forward, and we'll see what is there to come.
That's what everybody's kind of saying. It's like, we'll see what happens, but you just got to do what you can do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Jeff Traylor, she is the best human you will ever meet, a truly great human being, not a ton of sizzle, but she is like Matt Turner in her character, who's a former coach that he had at Gilmore High School, who was like really the nuts and bolts of everything they did, the success he had.
Absolutely. Jeff is definitely the sizzle. I am the let's just get it done.
Thanks for your time. Great to see you. Great to meet you.
Much.
Dr.
Likewise.
Lisa Campos, again, UTSA Director of Athletics, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.